So let's get our little camera to where we can see our guest. See our guest. See our guest. Really? Are you going to make it that hard for me? Oh, because I have it locked. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Two of us. Welcome, everyone. The brilliant and talented Rose Foreman, co-author of the soon-to-be released incredible Scarred King trilogy.
Yes, soon!
Soon. So soon. I'm 2 chapters away from being done with my editing pass on the Scarred King 1. So, did
then
you...
Then comes 2 and 3.
Yes, because it's a trilogy. Yeah, let me adjust the little tags on this real quick. We are no longer Zelda Universe. Now we are writing. Okay. Oh, and it still is thinking that it's a different title. Tales from Talifar stuff. Okay.
And you're no longer building a Zelda map. How are you going to build that map?
Oh, I'm so close to done. So close. Yeah, it was going to take 2 hours.
Are you serious?
I mean, it was going to.
Like, I'm going to speak. I'll just...
Why is this not showing up? Dottie B is saying hi, Rose. Okay, so Aletha's complaining that you don't...
Hi, Wintermute. Hi, Van Morda. Hi, Dottie B.
Okay, I'm going to refresh this and see what happens. We are live, yes. Okay, there we are. Yeah, sorry. Twitch stream was not updating, admitting that it was live. So, did you have any ideas about stuff to talk about, or should we continue on?
Well, I was wondering if you'd made any progress on the appearance of the Schlack.
That's a great thing to work on next. So, here is here's where we left off on sketching. Okay, so if you guys weren't with us previously, let's see,
we still see a green ball. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we're down there.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, so these were my initial, just like, I'm just gonna do random stuff to make crab creatures. And then during our brainstorming, we went through several of these, and I was kind of liking the idea of these kind of sand dollar-ish bodies, having them be radially symmetrical.
Yes.
And then I did these little, they're kind of hard to make out, but these little sketches just for thinking like 4, 5, 6, like how many segments should they be divided into, and that's what made me say I should just do this in ZBrush way faster and way easier, because it has this feature here. I'll show you real quick.
Okay.
Where you can let's switch to normal brush.
Because on Earth we see radial creatures that are divided into 5 segments. Most of the visible starfish that we see, you go further down in the ocean and they'll be divided into 12 segments, or 16. And then we have 6-sided things. I believe sand dollars are also 5.
Yeah, I think sand dollars are 5. Yeah, I was leaning towards 5, except then because we are going to be marketed in the clean fantasy. We're not going to be in the clean fantasy, are we? Aren't we too violent?
We're violent, but you know, that's not the same as whatever. I don't show too many guts.
True, yeah, we're not super gutty. But man, it gets pretty dark. I was gonna say in the Christian market, if we have 5-sided anything, they're gonna say that we're satanic and we're embedding satanic.
I never even thought about that.
I
Since
don't care about that.
that's not our target, I'm not worried.
Okay. We just have a lot of friends in that market, so yeah. So this cool feature in ZBrush lets you
look at that.
Do any amount of sculpting, and it just duplicates it any amount of time. So one thing that we could do is that, and then just make a new guy, and we can experiment very quickly.
Where did the sand dollar go?
We'll go back to that. It's right here. Don't worry. It's not gone.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't worry.
Be happy. Don't worry.
Well, when there's 500 things to look at, I don't know
where an awful lot
to look.
Yeah, and Aletha's reminded me earlier, make sure this is the most important thing to look at.
AJ Baki says your books are PG-13 at worst. At least the Scarred King trilogy seems to be. And I don't think I go much above that.
So, how do you... Okay, this is an interesting question that I've never heard an answer to. If you made a filmed version of any particular scene...
Yeah, some of the naked people are going to have to get clothes on. Yeah.
Well, and not just the nakedness, but the gore of these monsters getting ripped apart.
We already have movies that have, you stab somebody, but there's never any blood. People just fall down.
Which is ridiculous, and it's not going to happen in my stuff.
But it's
Star Wars a lot.
So to those where we see guts spilling out, and we're in between.
Okay. It's certainly not a focus. We're not trying to be gory or gross. Right. But we're also we're not avoiding it. To my knowledge. Okay, so here's an 8-sided thing.
Mm-hmm. I like 8-sided things.
Okay, so one thing I thought would be cool, Damon says, protect the children, clothe the monsters.
Well, no, the monsters stay naked, yeah, they do. Except for the human monsters, yes.
Okay, so I can pull out lines, so.
Oh, I was just writing about the clawed squid on the way here.
Oh. For the big fight with the
with the Varundar,
yeah.
And unwelcome message.
I love this tool and I hate this tool. It never goes in the direction I expect it to go.
By tool, you mean clay buildup, H polish,
yeah,
standard.
These are actually brushes, and this object is a tool in the nomenclature of ZBrush, which is just random and dumb, but whatever. So.
David says it looks like a cactus that's been dropped off a building.
Excellent. That's what I was going for. Yeah, so one of the fun things about exploring concepts in ZBrush is that you'll just do random things that will sometimes have happy accidents to them.
And it's easy to erase.
Yeah, and undo. And yeah, 8 is very octopi, for sure.
So maybe we want to make it 7 for our crab.
Oh, so
and one of them will be a modified arm that's got an especially big claw or something.
Yeah, one of the things that I was thinking of, I don't remember if I wrote this down. Okay, so I was saying they can choose to grow or stunt manipulation limbs for different tasks, like gardening versus attack. So if they wanted, 3 out of their 7 limbs to be big, beefy snipper tools, they can do that.
And then you still have 4
for subtle manipulation. Yeah. So I mean, I think the idea would be like, the fiddler crab that has the one giant one and the one little one, and they do different tasks. I don't know what mechanism we could posit that would be something where they could volitionally change it. If it's something like workout stimuli.
That's not hard. That's not hard. You can do it by application of certain chemicals that act as enzymes to prod certain activation genes. Or you could do it mechanically, like so many of the First Nation peoples of the West Coast. They did a thing where they would put their baby in a cradle board, and they would have one board sort of slant down and another board at the back of their head, and then they would tie it together so that the baby's head grew up sort of into a flattish wedge shape.
Yeah.
And they thought that was just so gorgeous. And so, you constrict a limb as it's growing, and it will be smaller or will change direction. So those are my 2 big ones. You think about, or you could put a mold around it, like pumpkins. If you want to have a funny pumpkin to smash, you can get a mold that's got the shape of a politician's face or whatever. And you put the little baby pumpkin inside, and as it grows and fills out the mold, it takes on that shape.
Yeah, I've seen those pears. I think it's in Japan. They grow pears in molds, and they shape them like little Buddhas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so I'm always attracted to what is the most interesting thing that would make their society unique. What is the answer to that we come up with that makes them weird and unique and interesting to learn about. And so I don't know which of those answers is so we've got physical constriction.
Yes.
We've got enzymes.
Right. I mean, what's the difference between a worker bee and a queen bee? The application during larvahood of particular chemicals.
And is it more or less interesting to have them have the ability to change in adulthood? Or do they have...
That would be different. Now, we have analogs on Earth where a lizard who's dropped its tail because it was grabbed by something can regrow a tail. And so we already can see things about regrowing. But now you're talking about growing something brand new. And it would be interesting if there was a particular plant that, you could put on their carapace, and it would dissolve a little hole in the carapace, and new flesh would grow in a different direction, and then have carapace form around it.
Here's the thought. What if, rather than growing the big ones, their default is they have giant claws, but they prune themselves?
Okay.
They just clip off the big giant part, and the little soft nubs underneath are good for, subtle manipulation. So the ones who want to be the big guards just leave them all big, and the ones who want to garden are always having to clip their growing claws off. That could be interesting.
That would be really strange.
But another random thought I had along those lines was, what if they go through their growth cadence, pattern. I don't know. So with an insect, you have the larvae, the pupae.
Oh, okay. So like some of my other books, where there'll be 7 stages.
Yeah. What?
Like jellyfish has the little floating larvae that settles down on substrate, and then it grows into like a little polyp, which is much like a sea anemone, and then the little baby jellyfish peel off like snowflakes from the top of that polyp when it gets old enough. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's a really interesting cycle.
What I was thinking was that's a cycle that we see on Earth. One that I don't think we see, or that I know of, is a choice to go like back into pupa and come back out at will. So they're thinking, or maybe it's just every year
so
they go through it. Or...
They could be they could garden in incredible plants that have incredible enzymes for this self-transformation.
That could be interesting. So they're creating concoctions for themselves to customize their next form, you know.
Yeah, so rather than plastic surgery, they have enzymatic regrowth or a reversion. You know, like we have a reversion, we can revert fat cells to pluripotent cells and then make them into specialized cells, and eventually that will be used to grow organs that you grow from the patient's own cells, and then you can replace their heart with a heart made from their own cells, so you don't have that rejection factor.
Right. Yeah.
We're not there yet, but it's coming soon.
Yeah.
They're already beginning to grow kidneys on scaffolding, which is slowly dissolved away, and you leave behind all kidney cells.
So awesome.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have to not have to worry about organ donor lists.
Correct.
Yeah, so I don't know which of those is a more interesting idea. I really like the idea of them having to prune themselves to be more adept at subtle manipulation.
Alika says it sounds painful.
I mean, it could be or it could not be.
But they're tough, you know.
Yeah. Well, and also it's really arbitrary, like where your because pain is a psychological thing, right? It's your body sending you signals, and your brain saying,
the receptors.
And your brain interpreting that as this is torturous pain. We know this because there are people who are able to tamp that down.
If we interpret it as something else, it's going to hurt less.
We know that's true. People can train.
Well, I know you can be distracted so the pain lessens a little, but if you're at the point of screaming, you're still going to scream. I mean, you won't be distractible. At least I never was.
Okay, yes, there are thresholds. But where the nerve endings are, how many nerves are in it,
right,
you know,
right.
if you're breaking, you know, if I clip my nails, it doesn't hurt.
Right.
If I cut off a callus, it usually doesn't hurt. You know, and so it could be similar to them.
Correct. We have very few pain cells on our back.
Right.
Versus our lip. Well, what is that central pole going to be? Is that going to like support a head or? Yeah,
this is my idea for like the head, the sensory organs, the eyes come out of this, and so it could retract. And I'm thinking these legs pull up to protect it.
Okay, and so if you've got, we've got 5 here, so if you've got, say, 5 eyes also spaced evenly around your head organ. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was thinking if they're...
You know, we were thinking snail eye type.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, let me just block that in real quick.
You try to think, because there's always a physiological cost to growth of things. Why did the creature grow this thing? And why didn't those who are born crippled with only 2 eyes survive just as well as those born, or maybe even better, because they didn't have to spend energy on making the other eyes? And I'm thinking this would give them great 360 vision,
yeah,
and keep them a lot more aware they're environs, and so therefore they survive longer because they see danger sooner.
Yeah. I mean, when you commit to radial symmetry, your creature is going to be ridiculously alien. And so writing a story, not as bad. Having a movie or TV show with one of these as the main character, that's a stretch.
We haven't written a novel with one as a main character.
No, we haven't. Well, and what I'm saying is in the visual design.
Eventually, you want a story about every species on the planet.
Well, not necessarily, but all I'm saying is be cognizant of the fact that this is a huge crippling factor if that's something we wanted to do later. If we ever wanted to have these guys as characters that people care about and follow, and
people care about Yoda. They care about
Yoda is a cute baby with ears. Try to think of any alien in a movie that's not humanoid.
That was seen positively.
Yeah.
Well, there's Arrival, but we don't get a very good look at those aliens.
Yeah, and it doesn't follow them and their thoughts and feelings. It's humans trying to figure out what their thoughts and feelings are.
Yeah. Now, I really want longer legs in those.
Than these ones? Yeah, I was actually thinking of maybe making these the arms and then having... Let's see what happens when I do this. I'm going to pull...
How are you feeling? You want to take a walk while they're doing this?
Yeah, let's go take a walk. I'm gonna glue this thing down.
Baki says I like the idea of them pruning themselves.
Yeah, I really like that too. I also like the idea of them going into a cocoon or a pupal stage or something where they cover themselves with the slime of the plants they've been growing. My only hesitation on that is that we already have a race on Talifar that is all about tinctures and potions and using natural substances to the Ungol, who they're creating these chemical compounds in order to control creatures better.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't think they created them. I thought they secreted them.
Well, it's both. They use every trick in the book to be able to do what is plausible to get a bear to do what you want in a battle situation.
We're gonna go for a walk.
All right.
Something with my slide.
I don't know if the audience would be interested, but the Ungols, when I came up with the naming convention for them, I used First Nation place names in Washington State.
Give me an example of that.
Well, Klickitat. So I did a variation on Klickitat. I did a variation on Cowlitz. I did a variation on Snoqualmie.
So as far as the language construction,
no, the naming, their names have similar syllables.
Right. There's a word for that, and I can't think of what it is.
Well, I hope it's not cultural appropriation.
No, I mean there's a word for the sounds of syllables in languages.
Oh,
like that aesthetic, right? Yeah, I don't know what cultural appropriation is. I've spent so much time thinking about it and asking so many different people, and I get so many different answers. I don't know. All I know is that for sure in 10 or 20 years, people are going to call our stuff problematic.
You pick dictionary for the names of the polar bear centaurs, the Crewley at the North Pole of Talifar. And used it. I didn't do a one-to-one translation.
Yeah,
but
generally that's what you want to avoid. But I mean, that's just
but the
just
thing
to be
is,
a
if
good.
I wanted to reward the UPIC because I used their dictionary, who would I send money to say thank you for having a language that I could borrow sounds from?
Right, and that's where, so on the spectrum of cultural appropriation, my understanding is the worst thing you can do is, I'm a white dude, I go to the side of the road just outside of the Hopi Nation, and I've made a bunch of dream catchers, and I'm selling them on the side of, you know, so that's like, there's your anchor for the actual
Okay.
legitimate worst thing that anyone would point to and say, yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
You know, like he's underselling what the Indian, because he had them made in China for you know $1,000 for $1. Okay, and then on the other end of things, you have where you're inspired by general ideas. So the things I've seen pointed to that I also agree with are like in Star Wars, when the hat that Queen Amidala has is a Mongolian princess headwear. They didn't change anything. It's just boop, there you go. It's a Mongolian princess, and you know Westerners haven't seen it, so it's exotic. It speaks exotic to them, right? That's another thing I could agree with is like, yeah, that you can do better. Like,
maybe I don't know. I think when I go to the Scottish Highland Games and I see Asians and I see African Americans wearing kilts, I am delighted.
Yes.
I do not run up to any of them and go, you are appropriating my heritage.
Yes. Also, in recent history, Scots have not been oppressed and enslaved, and you know.
Sure they were. What do you think Wallace was all about?
I said in recent times.
Define recent.
Recently enough where it has substantial cultural and or economic impacts on your personal life.
Oh, well, okay. My ancestor lost the war for who was going to be king, and so he ran to Virginia.
Oh, that's true. You could have been a Scottish princess.
I could have been well, no. Well, I don't know how their tribes have translated up through the centuries. But, yeah.
So this just occurred to me because of this accident where, you know, I wanted to make a traditional crab claw.
Right.
But it shot off to the side, and I'm like, oh, you know what I haven't seen is a tri-claw, where it's like, you know,
I like tri-claws.
Can you think of anything that exists?
Because then you almost have, like, a hand. You have a lot better manipulation possibilities.
Danny Me, thanks for subscribing. I'm gonna go check and see where they subscribed at on YouTube. Thank you very much. Oh, and apparently it looks like I missed.
Oh.
What did I miss?
Who did you miss?
I missed Demo Rose. Oh no, I did see that 300 bits from Demo Rose. Thank you, Demo Rose. With the 3-claw.
Of course, a 2-claw is a lot stronger than a 3-claw.
Makes sense. A 3-claw, I'm imagining, if you have the muscles that, you know, go under the claw, if you rip the claw off, you know, imagine taking a mitten off and now you have your little finger manipulators. Maybe that's kind of what they're doing. They've got these kind of little palpies underneath.
Oh.
But in order to be able to use fingers, you need a lot of receptors in the fingertips.
And you're saying that a carapace would not have as many receptors as is needed for gauged manipulation, you know, so you don't crush what you're holding.
I'm guessing that's the case. The reason fingers can be so good is because they have a little bit of give, right? And they're soft, and as you get, you know, pushed into it, responding in a very analog way. I feel like pinchers are very binary. Like you're going to feel down at the root of the muscle how much pressure, but it's just on or, you know. Well, sorry, it's still analog, but you can't, there's no rolling,
So you're thinking, what if you had a carapace with little projections, little villi? You know, like the little tube feet on starfish. They're all armored, but they've got this little groove down the middle of each arm with little tube feet that are hydraulically moved.
Exactly. Yeah, so maybe it's just a matter of breaking the shell off, and then they have that soft palpes underneath, which the palpes still exist.
Wait. You mean break the claw off?
Right.
To release what's underneath, and then it grows skin?
No, okay, so a starfish has a big arm,
right,
and these little,
there's the groove with the little villi underneath, yeah.
So if that was hard shell, they could only do this. They couldn't do the softening, right? So I'm saying they break off the hard shell part, and now they just have these dangling bits that can grab.
I don't know. I'm just seeing all this bloody flesh.
I mean,
okay, like the crab sheds its shell, so it would have to have something going on before you. Let's shed the shell. Let's not break it off. Let's shed it.
Okay. Demo Rose, good night. Thanks for joining us from Europe, and have a good night. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Monolith TMA says you need a Twitch producer. Couldn't hurt to have a Twitch producer.
Is that a person, or is that an app program?
So actually that's an interesting concept, because a lot of what the plugins for Twitch do, and Streamlabs, OBS, they do act as producers. They alert me when someone subscribes or donates or whatever. So that's kind of the role of a producer. But I would think someone to direct our attention as it's needed, because we're having a conversation, but then chat is also happening. Someone to handle the back end stuff. Yes, I would love that, because there's so many things I don't understand about the back end and wish I could fix and make better. But, we all have our talents and lack thereof. And that's
so then, Morta, are you a good producer?
Yeah. We'll just get Dan Moore over here. Okay, so if this type of a creature
we have an opening.
Yeah, it's unpaid, of course. You just come over and fix all my technical problems, and we hang out and get coffee sometime. Dan Moore says, I manage my friend's channel for about 10 minutes, lol. If you need me to help set up Slack or fix a comp. Monolith says, I'm in Ohio, so I'm not. No. Ohio's a bit of a commute. That is true.
Now, I'm in a critique group on Slack, but that's not what he's talking about.
I think it is. Like, you can...
There's a website called Slack where people can comment on each other's stuff.
Yeah, and you create individual, channels for...
Correct.
Yeah, for that purpose. So yeah, if I wanted... another one is... I can't remember the word for it. There's some other one that's very popular nowadays for people to chat on, and I don't have the time or energy to figure that stuff out at this point. At some point I'll have to, in the same way I forced myself to get on Instagram, and yeah. Discord, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes. Apparently, creators need to start Discords, and I don't understand how or why. I think the idea is that people who are fans of you, then 24 hours a day, they get on this channel and they can talk to each other, or you if you're on there.
You could do that on subreddit.
Right, you can do it on Reddit. You can have a Facebook page. I guess that's what I don't understand. It's pretty redundant, but if it's where everyone is and everyone's used to and everyone wants to be, then it behooves a creator to
go there.
Yeah, to do that thing. So yeah, I would not be surprised if at some point I end up having a Slack or a Discord or both.
Well, I know one person who has a fan club on a subreddit,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't build it, a fan did.
Yeah, that's the ideal.
He just shows, he just
shortcut
looks
to
in
that?
every once in a while and answers a question or makes a comment.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets excited because the author showed up.
We have that on Guild Wars as well. You know, someone started a Reddit page for Guild Wars, but it's more about saying how awful we are all the time.
Oh.
Not all the time. But
Not the kind of fan page you were looking for.
I like it because of the unfiltered criticism, but I'm a fan of unfiltered criticism, so other people.
Well, that's how you get better.
Assuming you can process it, digest it properly. It's not how you get better if you take everything
if
literally.
It's face to face.
Well, if you take things literally and think, oh I should die, and I should,
that.
Go jump off a cliff, and Plenty of positive fans there too. Yes, absolutely. In fact, they're probably more positive than negative, but that's just the human condition. Is the negative is more salient. You feel it more.
It's a stronger motivator than a positive.
Well, it sticks in your memory more as far as, the criticism and praise that I've received over my career. I can definitely recite the negative more than the positive. Change this guy's color.
And the purpose of changing its color is to make it more...
Just to not get it in my head that it is this color. It's good to change up the color and the reflectivity and all that kind of stuff as you go. Mm-hmm. Although this is a particularly gross color.
Now, we're positing, if I recall, sort of a bumpy carapace, a rough surface.
Yeah.
So that you can attach sea anemones and sponges and various sea creatures.
That's one of the things I'm pretty excited about with these guys is them growing gardens on themselves. I think that's a really cool idea. And those plants will have different strategic and or aesthetic purposes.
Correct.
So they could be defensive, they could be beautiful, they could, when mating season comes around, have play that.
For their click code, are they going to clack claws? Are they going to have an internal structure that makes the clicks?
Oh, there's all sorts of ways to go about that.
Cavitation's an interesting way to make noise.
Is that where you're clunking on a cavity?
Well, it's where you pull apart so far that a little vacuum forms, and then the water rushes in, or the air rushes in, whatever the substrate is, rushes in, and it makes a clap.
Okay, so
crash sound.
It's like a it creates a temporary vacuum.
Yeah.
And okay. And Mortis says, we use Slack at work for better communication with each other, but it can get casual quickly. I've had to tell a few coworkers to move their memes to other channels. Yeah, we definitely get the memes going at work, that's for sure. Reddit is very toxic at times. Yeah, every place can be
Every
very
place.
Yeah.
There's just so many toxic people in the world.
I don't think the people are intrinsically toxic, to be honest. I think systems have emerged that no individual necessarily, and perverse incentives have come around.
Okay.
And so a lot of the issues that we're seeing are people who have interpersonal needs that aren't being met in the real world or whatever, are finding mechanisms for getting either attention, applause from the crowd, whatever. So they're incentivized to say things that are outrageous to get noticed, to get validated. And so I think that's it's an interesting thing I've been writing and thinking about quite a bit. I think we're just at an odd time in human development where we have this new technology and we don't have the customs and norms and that kind of stuff, so it's the Wild West out there.
I can see that.
I've heard someone describe the internet as the culture's id, because it's just the unfiltered garbage that.
And yet there's so many cool things out there too.
Yeah, you just gotta wade through the unfiltered garbage to get to it. Someday that may change, we'll see. Every MMO has extremely vocal negative people who complain about every change in the game. Yep, yeah.
And Mortis says, people will complain just to complain. You want to say something. And right, and if the only thing you can say is ditto to a positive comment, I guess you don't feel like you're contributing enough. You need to be sophisticated enough to see the faults that no one else sees.
Yeah, that could be a part of it. Okay, so now I'm starting to develop the shape of the shell. It's kind of being kind of barnacle-like. Does that seem kind of like a barnacle with legs?
I'm trying to think. The barnacle has a little mouth beak.
Yeah.
And it opens and little tendrils. Well, little raky tendrils come out.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
I'm talking about the shell.
The pyramidal shape.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing. These bumps right there.
Specifically the shell. Just this part. Imagine without the arms and the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? And instead of the little fan that comes out,
right.
We have this tube with 7 eyes on top.
Yeah. And this can go. It can be quite stretchy, or it could be like a sea slug. Is that what I'm thinking of?
For what?
The neck and head.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of tubular creatures in the ocean.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of one in particular that's very stretchy, that can stretch way out and contract way back in. That might not be the one that I'm thinking of, but more to Aletha says the shell looks barnacle-y. Looking forward to Halloween content and people complaining about the clock tower. Yep, it's a yearly tradition to complain about the clock tower. Van Mortis says, I know a few game devs have started to match toxic players with toxic players or straight up ban them. I like that. Your behavior is unacceptable. Change or don't play. And then I love that puzzle, my second favorite. Sorry, Josh.
Which puzzle is that?
The Mad King Clock Tower. That's
okay. That's the one that
it's infamous.
That caused more people to rage quit than
yes.
any other game in the history of video games.
See, it's either the worst thing a developer has ever made or one of the best. Take your pick.
Yeah, I talked to a fan of yours, fan of Guild Wars, at the conference I went to recently. I told him that you'd made the Clock Tower one, and he said, "Oh yeah, that is a great game, and I can't play it, so I don't."
Good. That's the attitude you're supposed to have. If you're not good at it and don't enjoy it, don't do that part. Just don't do it.
David Rath says Clock Tower easy. Ibaki says my favorite JP. J is jumping.
Yeah, jumping
Puzzle. Okay, is the pirate one. Monolith says you underestimate my suckiness. I'm sure your suckiness at playing video games is what I'm assuming cannot equal mine.
Probably not a vacuum cleaner.
The only video I have on my YouTube channel is my running the Clock Tower puzzle, says Van Morda. Really? Baki says, I can't defeat the Clock Tower, but that's okay, so I guess she forgives you. Okay. Van Morda said, I help friends beat it. Baki says, I just run around the labyrinth and collect candy corn. Van Morda says, giving them tips. Monolith says, at jumping puzzles.
Yes, sucks at jumping puzzles. I mean, I'm not super great at them myself. I do all of the ones that I build, and sometimes that takes longer than building them.
That's pretty bad if you can't beat your own game.
Yeah, would not be acceptable. Made quite a few ecto.
Mikey says, oh, the video froze for me. Josh and Rose, you're frozen in place.
Oh, we are frozen.
Van Morda says, refresh the page. That will fix it. Mikey said, I did, and it didn't fix it. You know, I just hate it when I follow directions and I don't get what the directions say I was going to get.
Yeah, that is pretty frustrating. Yeah, it looks like the camera is just frozen. This happened on a previous one before also. Hey, Van Morda, thanks for the subscription. 4 months!
In a row. Now, there's a true fan.
I wish you could see the look of delight on my face. You'll just have to pretend. Just imagine the most delighted face you've ever seen. And that's me. Okay, so down here on the inside of these claws, I'm imagining you've got your
You
little...
wanted the equivalent of the tube feet.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent of the little fan from the barnacles, or the equivalent of what?
Anything that can do fine manipulation. So what I'll do is I'll take one of these. Here's what I can do. I can take one of them and let's see, what's the best way to do this? Let me turn off symmetry.
Okay, Baki says, hooray, which I think is related to Van Morda subscribing. Again, thank you. Now, these blades on the side of the lower legs, is that like for structural strength?
No, I just haven't developed them at all. I don't imagine.
What are you doing?
Giving him one arty hand. Okay. So he's got 4 big claws, and let's see what happens if you rip that shell off or shed that shell.
No, shed it! Please don't rip it. I don't like all that blood.
I mean, like snakes kind of, I guess they shed their skin.
Yes.
But it looks like ripping to me, I don't know. Unpeeling a banana. Whatever that is. Okay, so let's imagine.
What, some kind of manipulators. Yeah.
The snake is getting ready to shed. Can't believe how long that snake has lasted. For just just a corn snake. I thought corn snakes would be, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years.
They live 15 to 20 years.
Really?
Of course, what we don't know is how old the snake was when you got it.
Yeah. Apparently not too old, because, man, I think that was 2004 or 5 that we got it, so it's been kicking around quite a while. She's been acting pretty old lately. Oh yeah, she's been just watching Fox News and complaining about the weather.
Well, I suppose the manipulator. Okay, so you don't want the manipulator to do the same 5-fold as the body is, because then it's too much like a human hand.
I'm not super concerned about that. I'm just thinking of sea anemones and urchins and starfish, and thinking what kind of manipulators do they have?
Well, okay, so the little tube feed on starfish and sea anemones, it's a tube with a little sucker on the end, and the sucker can kind of grab onto things, you know, by folding around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can't do much besides pass it on to the next little sucker friend, and then that's how they pull things bit by bit toward their mouth.
What? How do you spell sucker?
SUCKER.
Oh.
And it's really neat, you know, I mean, hydraulics. Yeah, isn't that cool?
You know, so that was fast.
Monolith says, I love snakes. My wife does not, hence no snakes in this house. That's a small sacrifice. Then Mortis says, usually Monolith, I don't want a puppy. My wife does. We have a puppy now. Well, okay. Monolith says, to be fair, my wife would love a cat or a dog. We have no pets.
Yeah, we don't have pets either. I'm allergic to a lot of things. Heather's allergic to some things, and I think our landlord is very happy with us not having pets too.
Yeah.
Although I sure do love cute little pets. But... Ooh, starfish feeding. Yeah, that is a lot of legs. What is that, 20 or something?
Let's see. 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. 16, I think.
That's great.
I may have missed one or two.
I think him being around those idiots.
Oh, now he's going after a sea cucumber.
Yeah, because
Uh-oh,
he
run,
was
sea
running away.
cucumber,
I was like,
run!
oh, cool, he's making turns. He's like,
Oh, wrong way.
Oh, it is. It's undulating rather than crawling away. It's trying to flip away.
He's like, oh no, I'm
They're 18 going on 14.
Yep. He's like, nope. And I'm like, they're a year younger, and they're like,
They're empty heads. Both of them are empty heads. There's nothing in their head except sex drives to weapon.
yeah, that's what he was like.
There's nothing to them. They're totally shallow.
Yeah, so this kind of... Does this actually take you to close-up?
That could move things along, but it can't bend things.
Yeah, it probably doesn't have much strength behind
Correct.
it. Yeah. Yeah, so although if they have,
Can you go back to that? Because I've never seen a starfish with those things on. Oh no, the other one, the one with the little round. Yeah, those things up there. I've never
Yeah.
seen that before.
those are neat. Don't know what that is. Sea star.
So what the 2 feet do is hang on while the arm moves around.
Mhm.
So you could do it one-fingered or, whatever. And whereas to pick up and manipulate things, we require a number of fingers.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm also thinking that if the they don't necessarily need to have as much strength as a mammal finger if they have these other claws to help
Yeah, to hold the
move.
thing in position, and then the little 2 feet can
Yeah, do
do
whatever
the
it needs
smaller
to do.
things. Okay.
I mean, if it can grip, it seems like what's important is that it can grip and manipulate tools.
Mm-hmm.
So it can comb over its
Carapace.
yeah the whatever the garden on its carapace would be called.
Yeah.
It can pick off parasites. It can that sort of thing with its. Oh, John is helping someone move.
Let's see, Monolith says she had a cat when she moved here to Ohio from Boston, but it died a few months later.
No,
Oh, that is sad.
What is John up to?
he's helping a friend move.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Tom is helping the friend move.
Leela, do you need your notebook while I'm up?
Do I need my notebook?
Yeah, I'm up. Did you need your notebook or anything?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't have pretty pictures in it. It only has words.
Blah.
Boring words.
It seems like if you would want it to be able to work with the claw arms, that you would need to have it be quite a bit longer so that it can
Yeah.
reach them.
That's a good point. Yes.
I wasn't thinking of making the claws bigger,
No, I'm
but
gonna
you have a brilliant idea because of what I said.
stretch him out.
Oh, so let's try this.
Yeah, so hit just hold it down and the zero gravity so it goes all the way down. Till it stops
Didn't work.
He crushed the claws.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah, this is the way.
And then you
Sometimes I
can,
like to have the back under the muscle.
well, you can do that much. That's what these parts are. This, and then if you want to do it up or down, and then that's, and the remote.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the long kind of
Because
spider
these
crab legs.
this part of the arm is stiff, and you're positive this is flexible, but it still has to be longer than those particular parts of the arms.
So yeah, what I'm thinking is going in and doing a.
Oh, you're going to give it more joints?
Yeah.
I don't know how many joints you can give a thing before there's no longer any strength between the, where the muscles hold on to
Yeah.
do their contraction.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing this is a wrist, this is an elbow, and this is a shoulder.
Mhm.
I'm crabs have.
But all of them are going to have ball joint range of motion. You know, because the elbow is just pivot, basically.
Right.
A little bit of range, and then you've got ball joint, which is a lot more.
Yeah, well, because they have so many, they probably don't need as much of a range as a bilateral creature like a human. They only need to, you know, be able to get within, you know, 1/5 of a segment. But being able to turn the hands back around to themselves, that's the thing that I'm concerned with. So we've got the...
Because otherwise your flexible part has to sort of tuck under to deal with the padded part underneath. Or whatever, 2VD area.
Yeah, which is why
So is this going to also be carapace, or is it going to be like tentacle?
this little fringe here.
This arm.
Oh, so...
Is it going to be soft like the neck, or is it going to be hard like the arm?
No, I was thinking crab leg.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would shape it as, you know, never mind. I would make it look like a good...
Dottie B says it's been nice hanging with all of you, but it's time for my weekly visit with my mom. See you all later. Why don't you visit me weekly?
Oh, I would love to. Bye, Dottie.
You're a good person, Dottie.
Yes. Okay, and so the two main things I'm trying to do is, well, okay, I guess I want to do 3 things with this arm, and they may all be in competition.
Okay.
I want the arm to be able to fold up to protect the head hole.
So it'll come up like this.
Right.
Okay.
And then I want it to be powerful enough to be able to stave off predators by pinching at them. I want it powerful enough to be able to pick up rocks and move them around.
Stabbing there with a point. You know, could it be hold rigid enough so that it can stab? Or can it only grab and claw that way?
It could be either, because the legs could have the power to stab and poke as well. And I want them to be able to turn in on themselves to do their grooming and gardening and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, those are probably, from an engineering perspective, those are probably at odds and need to be balanced in some way. The longer they are, and the more segments there are,
the more flexibility there is, yes.
Right.
But then there's less rigidity when you want it for warfare.
Yeah. I'm thinking that the length doesn't help. So the length makes it harder for the arm to turn back and work on it itself. And it structurally makes it weaker. So I'm thinking of shortening them back a bit. And then the size of the claws, the kind of bigger.
The reason why you can get away with outrageous proportions in the ocean is because you've got the ocean buoyancy.
Which is what makes working on sea creatures so cool.
Because for whatever reason it's short recording. But I can plug it back in. But it's plugging.
Yeah, I think we'll go play with this some more. And but I definitely I think 5 is better than 8 as far as just being able to make it
Visually follow
Yeah.
what's happening.
exactly, since it's already so alien. Keeping the number of protrusions lower is probably better. But yeah, I think this is a good spot to call it for the day, and especially since we're frozen and you can't see our delightful expressions anyway. So yeah, something I don't know if it's the computer. Monolithma, thank you for the cheer. Yeah, it's had a lot of good progress today. So maybe next time you're up, we'll continue this, or yeah.
You'll want to get your books released before then.
Yeah, we got to get our books released. But I do want this guy developed enough to at least have his head poking out of the water for an illustration for the book. So yeah, so I think that's good. We'll call it for today, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. And you'll just get to hear my mom and guest star say goodbye.
Monolith the Daily Adequate. Bye. Thank you.
See you guys later. Bye.